Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is just a Canva day of awesomeness, and Bailey and I are here, and we have big crushes on Canva. I think that's safe to say. It is like a staple in our professional practice. And we just love how professional it makes us look, to be totally honest. But welcome. This is Getting Started with Canva Sheets. Design meets data. Ooh, we love a good alliteration in the morning, too. I am going to turn it over to your wonderful presenter, Bailey. Just to let you know, the chat is open. If you have any questions, if we can support you, if you want to see anything again, please just let us know. We are more than happy to do that. So, Bailey, take it away. Let's kind of mash up the design with data.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Emma. We have a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the fun stuff. I guess it is fun to meet us. Do you want to introduce yourself, Emma?
Yeah. Hi. My name is Emma Cottier. I'm also a Logix facilitator with Bailey. We've been together for quite a few years now, which is lovely. I'm just outside of Victoria, British Columbia, on the traditional territory of the West Sandwich people. Hi, Shika. I am so fortunate to teach in the school district I went to on the very southern part of Vancouver Island. And I also do a lot of design work for Logix with Canva. So it's a pleasure to be here.
It's awesome to be here with you, Emma. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Bailey Almberg. In my real life, I'm a literacy coordinator for a super small school division in southeastern Alberta. And my like Batman gig is logic facilitating. This is my very favorite thing to do. It's like my weird hobby is hanging out on YouTube with strangers and learning about cool tools. So I'm really happy to be here with you all today. And I'm joining you from Treaty 6. Treaty 6 is in northern and central Alberta, what we call Alberta today. So there's traditional and territorial land of peoples like the Cree, the Nakota, the Dene, the Saulteaux, the Deneta, as well as the Métis Nation number 3 and the Inuit peoples as well. So super grateful to be learning from elders and knowledge keepers and learning from tradition that's from time immemorial, really, and super grateful to be here joining you from Treaty 6. I'm typically on Treaty 7, so it's fun to be in a new treaty territory, and all of these Cree words up here are super interesting to learn about, so really grateful to be here on Treaty 6 today. I'm also grateful to Logix Academy. Emma and I wouldn't have anything to do on Saturdays if it weren't for Logix Academy. Logix does all sorts of things, from sourcing robots for classrooms to professional learning like this, and we're super happy to join you today. Logix is a partner with basically every awesome tool that teachers love to use. So Microsoft, Google, Apple, Minecraft. And then, of course, Emma and my favorite, Matata. We love the Ozobots and the Tailbots. That's what we present on a lot. So lots of awesome tools. If you're curious about any of these tools or need some extra help getting them into your classroom, make sure you give Logix a shout, because we are a huge partner in Canada with that. We also need to share some gratitude with Microsoft. So you're here because Microsoft thought that AI is cool. And even though Canva is not a Microsoft tool, Microsoft said, yeah, we got to get the teachers learning about AI. And so we're here to look at how AI and slides go together now, or sheets, sorry. And finally, there's this really fun digital skills compass, which might be a fun little break activity for you this afternoon. What is your digital skills level? Can you beat a score of 36? Are you above average, what is known as a dynamo? I've never done this, Emma. Do you know your score?
It's decent. I don't think I'm quite topping the charts, but I'm satisfied with my score. But what I love more about this is it just kind of is a really great reminder for some things that we probably already know, but in the day-to-day, they kind of get pushed to the back a little bit. So I like how it just brings just some key information items back to the forefront of my thoughts.
Nice. Yeah, it's good for doing that. All right. Datification of sheets, bringing data and design together. I'm really excited to be here with you talking about Canva sheets. In the chat, Emma will be your voice in the chat. What's your comfort level with Canva sheets? Have you explored it before? There's a lot of really awesome new tools that we've only just got access to in the last couple of weeks. So I'm really curious to hear what your experience is. And obviously, as we're going along, please use the chat to ask questions, ask me to go back over things. I'm really happy for this to be really interactive. But this is our plan today. We're going to take a look just in general at what data-rich classrooms are from my perspective and why they're important for us as educators. We're going to take a look at generating tables and how easy it is to just generate and go. We're going to talk about sharing and collaborating, and we're going to tootle around on a sheet together a little bit. Then we're going to dig into data analysis. And this is the part that I think is most promising with sheets, and something that I think as it grows is going to be really powerful. And then we're going to talk about storytelling with data and the best ways to share our data. I want to just add a little disclaimer here that as this presentation goes on, the skills get more and more complex. If you're a daily Sheets user or a daily spreadsheet user, Canva Sheets is going to be extremely intuitive to you. If you're just getting into the world of showing data on Google Sheets, Excel spreadsheets, Canva Sheets, some of this might feel a little overwhelming, and that's totally okay because learning is supposed to be a little bit uncomfortable. The beautiful thing about the way we're doing it today on YouTube is that you can pause us, and Emma and I aren't going anywhere. We'll be in that link for the rest of time, maybe. Who knows? So if you want to stop and dig into something, I'm going to go quite quickly. There is some time to play. But if you want to stop and dig in, or if you get on a track that is not aligning with what we're doing here, just pause the video and pick us up when you're ready again. I'm always happy to go through things, walk through them again. So please just ask in the chat, and we're definitely able to do that. If you're watching from the future and you're watching a recording of this, just pause and carry on when you're ready. So that's that. Emma, are we set up and ready to go?
We are so ready.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So here is my only soapbox of the day. No, there's 2 soapboxes in this presentation, but that's okay. We're in an era of datafication in education, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that this is a realm that teachers have a lot of potential to share stories from our work. I think this era is a big opportunity for us to share the nuance of our work and share how complex our work is. And I think, you don't have to think this, but what I think is it's almost becoming an imperative that we become data experts so that we can share our stories and we're not relying on external tools to analyze data, to share data, to tell us how our students are doing based on data that was pumped into another system. We live in data-rich environments in classrooms, and we, as teachers, intuitively analyze a lot of data on the day-to-day. And I think with tools like Canva Sheets, we have a really cool opportunity to really tell the stories of our classrooms in ways that are in today's era seen as more quantifiable, as more trackable, perhaps. Trackable is not the word, but I think you understand what I'm saying. And so I'm really excited that there are tools like Canva Sheets that kind of bring together the visual storytelling that teachers are already experts at with the numbers that people need to justify growth, to justify engagement, all of that stuff. I think teachers are well situated And I think Canva gives us a better platform to try it out. So that's my soapbox. Thank you for bearing with me. And now let's dive in. So first of all, this is the intro session to Sheets. So odds are good you haven't even been to Canvas Sheets before. So where you're going to go to check out Canvas Sheets is canva.com/sheets. And Emma, I'm going to get you. Uh-oh.
Do you want me to? I can flip over to my Canva if you would like.
Yeah, well, no, I just need you to flip over to my Canva. There, I have the right screen up now.
Okay, perfect. There we go. Look, we're in Bailey's Canva.
Okay. Okay, so we're canva.com/sheets takes us to the kind of launch page specifically for Sheets. This is a really nice overview of kind of what's possible with Sheets. So if at any point you're kind of wondering what I can do with Sheets, just come take a scroll here. A lot of my inspiration for our intro session today came from this slide deck or this page, web page. So just come take a peek. This was my favorite part of it. There's some really awesome features in Canva's Sheets that make Sheets really powerful. So these are all awesome things to think about. Okay. There are also templates. Up here at the top, you can search thousands of templates. Let's see. Let's search a gradebook template just to see what comes up. Oh, here we go. So these are designs. So what I want.
They are so pretty.
So pretty. I want to add a filter. I'm blind right now. I cannot see Sheets. Okay, what's going on? Canva templates. I'm just going to go right to the beginning. Canva templates. Let's do a design plan sheet we'll add. Here we go. This is one. Project Gantt chart. This is a Sheets template. And then once you click on it, you can see there's a lot of Sheets templates. So you do not have to start from scratch with Canva Sheets. There's all sorts of templates here. The thing that I noticed is that us educators haven't gotten our hands on Canva Sheets yet. So a lot of these are really focused on content development, on project management. So we will have to sort of use these for our own powers once we understand a little bit more about Sheets. So if I go back to canva.com/sheets, there's a big old create new button that shows up. Create a sheet. I can also choose the plus create button and choose the sheet option here. And there are more templates there. I'm just going to choose a blank untitled sheet for now, just to give you our little tour. There's two things I wanted to make sure that you saw today. And these are like the two most important key takeaways. If you don't know these, I haven't done my job. This is number one. This beautiful gradient sparkle actions tool. This is where all of the new exciting things about Canva lives, or Canva Sheets live, sorry. This is where we do all of the AI supported and AI assisted stuff. So anytime in Canva when you're using a tool that has sparkles, you're also utilizing AI. It's kind of cool. There's also this whole interface, which is really typical Sheets kind of spreadsheet interface. I'm a big Google Sheets user. It really is extremely similar to Google Sheets. So if you're making the jump, don't be intimidated. There's all of your skills from spreadsheets or Google Sheets are going to transfer into Canva as well. And then finally, we have our collaborate button, the share button, which a lot of times if you're designing on Canva, you'll use this to download and to print. This share button is how we will collaborate on this sheet. So let's go back to my slides, Emma, and we are going to talk about our first little bit of magic. We want to wield the power of magic sheets, and we're going to use generate table to build a useful tool for us without much fuss. So I don't know about you. When I started teaching, I bet you I spent 2 weeks prepping my day planner, attendance tracker in a sheet. Did you do the same?
Oh yes, lots of trackers, lots of just keeping, and then just score. Yeah, endless tracking.
Okay. So what kinds of things did you track?
Sometimes just like participation scores out of things, attendance, task completion.
Very interesting.
Some, math scores.
Nice. How long would you say that you spent on a task like that? Just developing the sheet?
To be honest, probably too long.
Give me a number because we need a base.
Okay, so just creating the ready, I'd say at least half an hour.
Okay, half an hour. Do we have half an hour left in the session? Barely. Let's go back to my Canva page, and I'm going to show you this generate table tool that has absolutely blown my mind. Okay, so participation. Let's go actions, generate table, and again, I'm using the Sparkle, so this is AI assisted. There's all sorts of suggestions of things you might generate. But like I mentioned, teachers haven't really got our hands in here yet. So these aren't really teacher specific.
I was just laughing of tracking my ice cream consumption, Bailey. That was an option in there. I was like,
is it really?
I don't think I'm quite there, but my ice cream consumption.
Summer is coming and you are in the home of my favorite ice cream in the world. So just a shout out to the ice cream stand at Cumberland Lake. It's the best ice cream in the world. Oh, yeah. All right. Describe a table you want to create. Emma said she would spend about a half an hour creating a participation list. Create a table that tracks student participation. It should have a column for student names, a column for dates to track, several columns. This is where prompting becomes important, and this is where your practice will kind of live in how best to prompt. Several columns to track dates and participation levels, as well as columns, I'm spelling everything wrong today, for observations, because quantitative and qualitative data can live together. Then I'm going to choose generate, and this table is going to take way less than half an hour. And here's the thing. This is kind of, I think Canva is looking at this from a perspective that we need data as well as the table. So it does generate the fill for us. Super easy to delete it. The thing that I really am appreciating about a lot of large language models these days is the opportunity to iterate. So if this was absolutely not what I wanted, I could say more like this. And if I click on more like this, oh, my apologies. More like this means give me more data that looks exactly like this. This but is where I can say this but. Please don't, let's say instead, please give me more dates in the columns. At least 10.
I am in awe of the efficiency of this table.
Yeah. So there we go. I have at least 10 dates now. And again, I'm going to press insert and it's going to just pop into a table. Now, these are obviously made up students, but all I have to do is delete that. And now I have a table for student participation. Kind of cool, hey? If I were to create another one, let's do tracking reading progress, reading skills.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that I'm a literacy obsessed individual in my
I've been picking up on those vibes, but our viewers may not. And you know what I love? Like something, I am a Google Sheets, I'm an Excel user, like I use them all the time. This is so visually pleasing. Like you instantly open it and it's just nice to look at it. It's already like nicely formatted. No diss on our other counterparts, but it's very uniform. It's very like institutional, I would say. Like this just has a really friendly user vibe to it.
It goes back to my soapbox about how we're in a position as educators to tell the stories with our data, but that also means we're in a position to bring our own sort of storytelling skills into data and into sheets. So I think it's really cool that we can bridge design into this. So I'm going to choose actions again. I'm just going to choose generate table again. And the table that I want to create this time, let's see, a table for reading goals for students. I want to track, let's say, fluency, reading comprehension, and metacognition skills. And my AI assistants know that I'm a terrible speller, so now you all can know that too. Metacognition skills. I want to track both quantitative and qualitative data for all three. Period. Let's see how this gets us there. I'm still playing around with my prompts, and that's something I'm still learning is how Canva Sheets likes my prompts. There it is. See? This one didn't fill in the data, and I wonder if it's because I said I want to track, but you'll see it says fluency quantitative, fluency qualitative. But rather than quantitative, use score, and rather than qualitative, use observations. Generate. Yeah, it changed it. I'm just going to insert it, and bingo bango. I have a really pretty sheet, except for it changed the colors. No worries. Canva is really easy to change colors on. There we go. There's my easy peasy sheet. What previously took Emma and I at a minimum half an hour was approximately 2 minutes.
Or like a lot of us, even watching today, can probably relate to how we used to make a ruler. We get a ruler out and we like draw little lines. It's mind blowing just how far we've come, and just to have this data at the fingertips. The only thing I would maybe not even just caution, just every district does have their own privacy things. So you could always code student names differently. So always, I'll just put that in, just check with your district what they are comfortable with. They might be okay with it. They might prefer to use some initials instead. And that's just okay too.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Emma, for that reminder. Okay, let's go back to the slides. And it is now our audience's opportunity to give this a quick try. So we're just going to pop up a sort of prompt for you. Use generate table to build a tool without fuss. And then we'll be ready to move on. Emma, are you doing okay over there?
Yes, sorry. I'm still like, I was like really zoned thinking about the spreadsheets and all the things I can do with it. Sorry, that
Yeah,
was me.
there's a
I
lot
get
there.
lost in the Canva world all the time.
All right. So go ahead and give this a try. Just based on time, I think Emma and I will move on, but now would be an awesome time to pause if you wanted to try this out. So our next step is sort of collaborating to tell our stories of learning together. So Canva is a really collaborative design tool, and the thing I really appreciate about Canvas sheets is that the same collaboration lens was applied to building the sheets. So, Emma, we can go back to my Canvas screen now. And I'm actually going to use for the rest of it, we're going to do the job I told the teacher I would help them with. We're looking to track pages for the last part of the school year of reading. So here's a really simple table I filled in. I want to share this. And in this use case, we have a grade 6 classroom. We're just wrapping up the school year. Here in Alberta, we have standardized tests going on. So there's a lot of time for kids to just kind of sit tight while tests are being finished up, all of this stuff. So this teacher wanted an interactive challenge. She's got levels of rewards for the percentage because they're also reviewing math concepts. I think it's so smart. For the percentage of their goal they meet. Obviously, the higher the percentage they meet, the better the goal is. So for now, we just have a really simple sheet to track pages. And if she wanted to share this with her students, she could add their emails right here just by choosing the share button. And you can see who I collaborate most often with. You can just add their names there. The beautiful thing about Canva for educators is that we can add our groups in. And that's where you could enter your grade 6 class and their emails, and you could get them onto this Canva sheet really simply. The other way I can access share is with this access level. And I can change it to anybody from my school or anybody with the link. And I'm actually going to do anybody with the link. Now, this is a bit Wild West. And I'm just going to share this with Emma because I want to demo how simple it is. Emma has no idea that I'm going to do this. And Emma, you don't have to share your screen. But I'm just going to copy this link. I have the link copied. I'm going to send it to Emma in our back channel, in our private chat. And she is going to be able to get on to this design. And look, Emma is the first name. There she is. Emma, what is your goal? Pages. Can you, fill out your goal first.
Saying I'm adding I was just really into my book already. So for May, if I did like 50 pages a day, 30, I'm gonna go for 1,000 pages.
Oh, okay.
Let me put it in, sorry. So I'm gonna set my goal of 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
And our audience I can see exactly where your mouse is, kind of where you're hovering. This is really different than other collaborative tools. Typically, when we're collaborating on, like say Google, for example, on design tools, we can't see the changes until they're actually being made. But with this really cool tool, I can see them as Emma's navigating. It's really helpful when we're collaborating on more complex things like this. So that would be a way that you could get your students involved in data tracking with you. There are ways, and this was a beginner session and I chose not to include it, but there are ways to pull data from other sources, to pull data connections from other sources like forms or CSVs. And that I think is a bit of an intermediate step. And so I'm not going to share it with you, but just know that if you would rather your students do the typical like fill out a form, it shows up on the sheet, that's also an option with Canva. But I think the power of collaboration in Canva is really unique, and it's helpful to get kids onto sheets and start working in that way. So that is that. And now I'm just going to delete these because we have an empty table. And my next step is to do some data analysis. And in order to do that data analysis, I need data, obviously. So I'm going to go back to my sparkles. I'm going to go to actions, and I'm going to do fill empty cells. I have to say, as a presenter, this blew me away because we generate a lot of fake data for presentations so that we can demo it. And I'm going to live generate this for you right now. I would do this all the time if I was like giving an example to kids, if I needed to demo, how to, how to do chart building. We would all of a sudden have all this AI generated data right in our sheet. So I'm going to choose actions. I highlighted the cells I wanted to fill first. I'm going to choose fill empty cells. And again, this is where I can prompt, and I'm going to say I want an assortment of numbers between 800 and 1,000. They should appear to be random. Generate and insert. And now I have all of these very and like, what's the word for extremely positive?
You have some really avid readers, perhaps?
Some keen readers in this grade 6 class. So good for these fake children. And again, like Emma mentioned, I did only include first names. And anytime we're interacting with artificial intelligence, we really have to be mindful of our students' data dignity. So if it were me in my classrooms, I would only use first names on my Canva sheets. There are other places, obviously, where we can be really sure of the security and dignity of that data, like our LMS systems, our gradebook systems. I think when we're using Canva for this kind of data, first names only or initials is probably the preferable way to go. Now, I also want to fill in the pages they've read. So I'm going to do the same thing. Actions, fill empty cells. But fill the cells with numbers between, let's say, like per week, let's say 45 and 200, 150. The numbers should appear to be random. Generate. Now we're pretending my students filled these in, but here we go. Insert all of this data. Isn't this neat? The use cases for this in education, oops, it's a little bit off-centered. I'm just going to highlight it all. I'm going to Control X. Oh, I'm going to highlight it all. Control X, Control V, put it where it needs to be. So I have strange. I did a strange delete, and now I'm missing my headers, but I'll just type those in. Now I have some fake data to play with, basically. I think the use cases for this are interesting in education. I'm sure you can think of times, especially in your math class, where you might want that. That fill table also works if you want to put like statistical things in there, populations, you know, um, numbers of animals, all of that stuff still fills in there. So if you had a table of, say, like populations of the provinces, you could fill it with actual statistical data that the AI is pulling from its resources. Super cool. All right. So now I have a table. And now, Emma, we're ready to go back to my slides. And we are going to talk about using AI to support our data analysis. This is, I think, where I have the most growth to do. And I think where teachers, this isn't in our wheelhouse. We're not statisticians. Many of us did not complete quantitative research. So this is where I think, in terms of pattern finding, teachers are expert pattern finders. In terms of using data to support their patterns, that I think is more intuitive for us. And the more we're able to bring that into the page, and again, not necessarily with just numbers, I'm just demoing a tool that uses numbers, but the more we're able to tell the story of the patterns we're able to find, I think the better we'll be as a profession. So we're going to dive into using the Sparkle tools, Canva's AI tools to support us in our data analysis. And I will say these tools are still new and AI is changing. Today's AI is the worst AI you'll ever use. It's only going to get better tomorrow and the next day. So I think let's keep in mind that these are still tools that are being iterated on constantly. So if they're not doing exactly what we need in the future, they likely will be. The first is to use magic formula to simplify your analysis. Emma, have you ever tried to do like a equal sum or something really
Yes.
complex?
Probably more times than I'd like to admit. And then every time I go to do it, I have to like do a little internet search to remind myself the exact character, the exact placement, how to, drag and collect the data I want included. Yes, Bailey, I've probably spent too much time on formulas.
Yes. As an English teacher, I can confidently say I remember the room I was in when I learned how to do spreadsheet formulas, and that is the extent. I do not remember anything else. So these magic formulas are pretty cool, and I think are going to save us a lot of time. The other thing that's new to Canva Sheets is the Magic Insights. And I have a disclaimer for Magic Insights. The Logics team was playing around with it to prepare for our awesome day today. And it's a mixed bag on how much we were able to get out of Magic Insights. And my gut tells me that Magic Insights works better the better your data set is. So, I mean, we're talking about a spreadsheet of my May Pay challenge with my unreasonably small class that has, I don't know how many, it's probably got 80 data points. There's not a lot of pattern finding to be done there. I think the more complex your data is, the better this tool would do, but it's also a new tool. And we know that these tools have a lot of learning to do, and the people who develop these tools are constantly working on them. So if you're not getting exactly what you want, you can always take a look at your prompt. You can always take a look at your data, but you can also just sit tight and eventually we're going to be able to do really interesting things with this tool. So Emma, if we might go back to my chart, and the first thing we're going to do is find the total. Okay. Typically, I would go equal sum and see, I would misspell sum. I would go highlight all of these and I would enter it. And then I would do the click and drag. my chart. I need to delete my chart. There. And that's the way us millennials were taught. We're here in the year 2025 and we can use an AI. And yes, equal sum is an incredibly simple formula. We're going to upskill this a little bit more. But if I press equals in any tab or any cell in my sheets, I get this magic formulas button. And, here we go. Magic formulas. Describe what you want your formula to do. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to refresh the sheet really quickly because my computer is supremely unhappy with me. Oh, hopefully it refreshes. There we go. Going to press equal in that cell, choose magic formulas. And then I'm going to say, add all the week's cells together. And it's going to do its AI thing, and it's going to generate that sum. And actually, you'll see, because I don't have any totals in CH, it actually didn't include it. But I can insert that, and it will sum it up. I could also say this week 4, say that was a week I had a lot of kids out. Maybe there was like an excursion kids could choose to go on. And my kids, as grade 6s are wont to do, maybe they had a bit of complaints about having less time in class to read that week. So I could go equals magic formula. And I want to create a weighted total. Now this is where my English teacher brain is like, oh, I don't even know how to Google search this. But create a weighted total where weeks 1 through 3 are weighted at twice of week 4 and 5. We'll see if that works. Choose this button. Yeah, so what it did is it chose to times the cells by 2. There's lots of different ways that this formula could be created, but it's saying C4 times 2, D4 times 2, E4 times 2. Those are the weeks where I wanted them weighted twice. So I'm going to insert. And now, rather than a simple sum, I'm creating a weighted sum, which is kind of an interesting way to approach something like this.
Which is way easier doing this. I couldn't even mentally compute maybe how to do that in Google Slides or Excel.
It's Saturday morning. It's the end of May. What teacher is going to be like, yeah, I know how to do that. Like our math teachers are. The English teachers?
Yeah. I just love how, but you know what I love most of it? You can just ask what you would like. And I think that's the key part is we know these other tools exist, but then you have to kind of search up how to use them. This you can certainly ask. And I like how you can do your iterations like this, but I mean, that's huge. So you can tweak it to just be absolutely perfect for what you need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really empowering. And that's why when I say like teachers are in a position to tell the story of their data, this is the kind of storytelling. And I manipulated the data a little bit, but it also realistically captured the story of this class, right? If we're gone for 2 weeks or my kids are in and out, where I live, there's junior high rodeos going on right now. So kids are missing 3 or 4 days in a week. Maybe I do want those weeks to be weighted less towards their goals. So always something to consider there. So now I'm just going to demo it one more time with this actions. And no, I'm going to demo it by pushing equals and then choose magic formulas. So you can see that the magic formulas they're not hidden, but you have to be in the sheet to work on them and choose equals. And then I want to say calculate the percentage of the goal total for each student. And obviously this would be like a X over X. Oh, and I want to, yep, see, I retried it and then it calculated it as a percentage point. So there we go, insert that. And Emma only did 10% because she only has one column filled in, but you can see everybody else is pretty close to their goals, and we have 1 week left, so that's kind of exciting. Okay, that's Magic Formula. The next tool I wanted to show you was Magic Insight, and that lives under the sparkle button at the top. So in my role now, this is the most challenging part of my role when I'm supporting teachers with looking at data and looking at a lot of quantitative data, a lot of number data, and trying to find patterns. It's not something my brain does well, but it's a necessity of our work in this era of datafication in education now. This Magic Insights tool allows us to use a narrative approach, conversational approach to speak to this sheet. And again, this one is, it's not infallible. So you really have to be the human in the loop with this tool. But there's lots of potential here. So let's see, ask a question to generate AI-powered insights. Which students have increased their reading pages over the course of the month? And I specifically chose language here that is dialogic. I'm not using the language of a statistician here, and we'll see how it does. Oh, I have to choose cells. I'm going to choose my whole table. And then to choose my whole table, I just chose the circle in the corner. There's a little sheet trick for you. And then I generate. It does take a little while, and this one is operated on credits. So each educator account has 500 credits. You'll never run out of credits. They renew every month. So here we go. Pretty soon, we'll see what kind of insights Canva Sheets was able to give us to tell us about this data. Yeah, so this is one of those results that on the first blush, it looks pretty quality. The total increase in reading pages for each student is 100. And it tells you how it found that by showing you the formula. So what it did, it added our, this is incorrect because I'm the human in the loop, and this is my job as a human interacting with AI, I can see it's using column C, but it's using the different rows. So it's not comparing apples to apples here. But it did say that, and this is a really complex bit of analysis it did, the student with the highest increases reading pages is Ethan. And again, I can be the human loop and do some confirmation here. And I would say, yeah, it looks like Ethan had some significant growth from the first bit. It also shows us a chart. I'll show you more about charts in a little bit. Oh, and then it compares the first week with the last week. And this is the kinds of things, we had a really good chat in the Logix back channel about this. But this is the kind of thing I would never, ever think to look at, is reading counts in the first and the last week. And I just think about how valuable that discussion would be with kids when we're talking about developing that metacognition, that self-regulation, to look at our reading patterns in the first and last week and really talk about why is it that way. Super interesting insight. And this is the kinds of things that I think this tool brings value to. I never would have thought about that, but it's something that's there in the data that we can talk about, that we can use to move our learning forward. So something valuable. Emma, any insights on Magic Insights?
I just like the questions. Like, I would just encourage teachers to like experiment with a few questions. You could certainly look for averages or trends. You could possibly even ask the AI to, I don't know, I've always been a fan of conditional formatting, kind of in other things. So, as a teacher, you might want to just like color code or, a few of the squares that either are concerning or the other side. Yeah, and just to kind of look for trends over time.
That's really interesting. I'm going your idea about formulas, conditional formatting gave me an idea. So let's say which students lost the most reading pace. And this is something that is only for my eyes as a teacher. I would not share this. But this is really important for me to know. And I'm really curious if it pops up, Emma, with the empty cells.
Yeah,
We'll
and
see.
teachers might consider with these tables, like I'm a very visual learner. So maybe you have one or two colors that are like the positive things you want to point out when you're doing some assessment or
Mhm.
taking notes. And maybe you have one or two colors where you may have places of concern so that, as teachers, we get distracted or there's like the 127th question that we get and we lose our train of thought. We know through our color coding in these spreadsheets, like what positives we want to highlight, but what are maybe one or two things that we want
Mhm.
to focus on or maybe have a conversation about.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, thanks, Emma. Let's go back to my slides. And this will be a good point for folks to pause if they're looking to find to play with that insight tool. And then we're going to move on to the last bit, and we'll just wrap this up here in 3 minutes with magic charts. Magic charts is so awesome. So let's take a look at this sheet again. And again, we know intuitively, I think, that this there's a lot of power in this data, but this is meaningless unless we can visualize it. We're an extremely visual species. So we need to tell the story visually for it to make sense. So I'm going to again choose my sparkles. I'm going to choose magic charts. And the Canvas Sheets AI gives me options. And I can click through and kind of take a look at like, okay, what is going to make the most sense for me to visualize this data? And actually, I think this one makes the most sense for me because it stacks each week on top of each other. So I'm just going to choose this one and click on it. And that enters it into my sheet. And my computer is extremely unhappy, so I'm sorry for that really disorienting view. But there is a chart. I am of the mind that that chart is meaningless there, but there is a way that I can make this more meaningful. When I was in the classroom, and lots of my colleagues have these really awesome chances to talk with their kids about their learning. They build it in during their calendar time, during their classroom meeting time, whatever you want to call it. It's a chance to actually talk about how the classroom's going. So I kind of thought my last demo of the day would be to how would we share this data? Oh, I lost my mouse. Here we go. How would we share this data in a meaningful way to our grade 6 students? So I just opened up an untitled design. I'm going to go and actually just look for a celebration template because, it's May and I'm tired. I'm going to choose this one. And just that first image, oh, hello, this one. I'm going to insert this first image. And I'm just going to change this to May Reading Challenge. Really simple design. There's not a lot of editing for me to do here. But I just have to make sure it's all spelt correctly because grade sixes are ruthless. I'm gonna change this to Miss A's grade 6 class. So in less than a minute, I have a design that's student ready. That's the thing I love most about Canva is all the templates available to us. But then this is where the bridging happens, and this is where our potential to tell stories really expands. If I go on the left-hand side and I scroll down to charts, I choose start with data. I use sheets. And because I was working in my sheet, here we go. I choose done. This is my reading tracker. It looks familiar to you. Now the same magic chart pops up. I know that I wanted to choose that bar chart. And I can just click on it to insert it into my
Woohoo! And look how like
classroom.
it's like that's super cool. I mean, Emma might be a little embarrassed by her lack of reading there, but I'm going to use it as inspiration to like open a book.
Emma, thank you for saying that because I can customize this. I would never show this data with student names on it because I think like when kids own that kind of stuff, it's going to ruin the conversation. So I can say, take the labels off. I can say, give me the stack totals. What are the totals of what everybody read? Give me labels for each week.
Woo! It isn't so amazing. Like let's just give a shout out to Canva here because if we were in a different program, we would have to go back and edit it in the other program and then bring it over again. Whereas Canva, you can edit it right here in live time, right on your slide, which is huge.
And I will say it's making me a little bit crazy that these are not aligned. Oh, look, it automatically resizes everything. So I don't have to worry about fiddling with things to make it look good. Okay, that's one really cool thing. I'm going to end with an extra cool thing. Say that Emma, and I'm going to do this intentionally a little bit odd, just so that you can visually see what happens. Emma went on a real reading spree and she read 1,000 words in week 2 and 3. If I go back to the sheet, to the presentation, if I click on this chart, click twice or choose edit, and I go to data, I can refresh data. Now look at Emma's reading scores. Obviously,
I'm feeling really good about myself. And you could even turn this into, certificates. Like in Canva, this is a 16:9, which is a regular presentation, which is great. But maybe you want to use Canva to have like individual certificates. You just set it up as an 11 by 8.5 or 8.5 by 11, depending on how you want to do your certificate. You just have your design, boom, you're just like plunking the individual data in there, and then they don't even see, they're just getting their individual like success each month.
Actually, I think James is going to share about bulk create, which is a teacher's dream from Sheets. So if that's something that interests you, definitely one of the other Sheets sessions today is going to be the one to go to. Okay, so that's kind of where I would take that data and bring it into a storytelling area to share with my students. Emma, if we can go back to the slides and there we are. That's the end. If you have questions, we're happy to stick around for a little bit longer. Please don't forget, we're ankle deep in the year-end EdTech extravaganza. So this day is part of our extravaganza. It's really important to us that we end the year with you all in an energetic and joyful way. And there's lots of really great teacher PD that's coming up that is just going to make us feel a little more invigorated to wrap this year up well. We're really always appreciate your feedback. So if you're able to share feedback today, we'd appreciate you taking a minute or two to give us that feedback. And I just want to end with gratitude to Emma for being here and steering our ship and keeping me in line, and also gratitude for you all for joining us, whether you're joining us live or in the future. Super appreciate you taking time to join Logix and make your practice a little finer detailed. So thank you so much. Thanks, Emma. Have an awesome
Thanks.
day,
Thanks
everybody.
everyone for joining. The next session is in 15 minutes. So you have time to get a little break. And thank you, Bailey. That is so wonderful. You would definitely have left me with many insights and inspiration. And yeah, I love nerding now. Data and design, numbers and design are probably my two favorite things. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.